Good morning. Welcome to 5th Science online class. In previous class, we learned sun, moon, phases of the moon and landing on the moon. In today's class, we are going to learn eclipses. Okay. What is eclipse? Do you know? Yes, the partial or total blocking of light of one celestial object by another. The partial or total blocking of light of one celestial object by another is called eclipse. That is, an eclipse occurs when a celestial object such as moon moves directly into the shadow of another celestial object. For example, during a solar eclipse, the moon comes between the earth and the sun, due to which the sun was blocked for a brief period of time and people on earth cannot see it. Okay. In ancient times, during solar eclipse, people were frightened by seeing that light of the sun was partially or completely hidden. They thought of various reasons for this natural phenomenon which were not scientific. But in today, scientists have studied these eclipses and explained to the world how this happens. Okay, let us see the eclipses. There are two types of eclipses. On Earth was normally observed two types of eclipse. One is solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. Depending on the position of the object and also the timing of alignments, these eclipses are either partial eclipses or total eclipses. First we see the lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse occurs when the moon is partially or completely hidden. When the moon is partially or completely hidden. A lunar eclipse happens when the earth, while moving around its orbit around the sun, comes between the sun and the moon. The earth blocks the light of the sun from falling on the moon and shadow of the earth falls on the moon. This phenomenon is called lunar eclipse. When the moon and the sun are on opposite sides of the earth in a straight line, then total lunar eclipse happens. The moon looks slightly reddish during a total lunar eclipse. Then partial lunar eclipse occurs when only a part of the moon comes across into the earth's shadow. The part of the moon which comes across the earth's shadow appears very dark. It is safe to look at a lunar eclipse directly. Lunar eclipse means when the earth comes between the sun and the moon. This is called an eclipse of the moon or lunar eclipse. Next, solar eclipse. The solar eclipse occurs when the sun is partially or completely hidden. Here, the moon is moving around the earth in its orbit. While moving along its orbit, when the moon comes between the earth and the sun. When the moon comes between the earth and the sun, it blocks the light of the sun from reaching the earth and shadow of the moon falls on the earth. This phenomenon is called as solar eclipse. Here in the solar eclipse, two types of shadows of the moon falls on the earth. The first shadow is called the umbra and the second shadow is called the penumbra. Umbra is the dark center of the moon's shadow and gets smaller as it reaches the earth. People in the area, umbra see a total solar eclipse. During a total solar eclipse, the sun, the moon and the earth lie in a perfect straight line. Okay, a total solar eclipse can also be seen from a small part of the earth. During total solar eclipse, the sky becomes very dark as night. Okay, next, the people in the area of penumbra see a partial solar eclipse. Partial solar eclipse occurs when the sun, the moon, and the earth are not exactly a straight line. Solar eclipse means when the moon comes between the earth and the sun. During solar eclipse, two types of shadows are formed. The first shadow is called umbra and the second one is penumbra. Umbra means the sun, the moon and the earth all comes in the straight line, exact straight line. That is total solar eclipse. Then penumbra means the partial solar eclipse. It occurs when the sun, the moon and the earth are not exactly in a straight line. Here are some interesting facts on solar eclipse. There are between 2 and 5 solar eclipses every year. A total solar eclipse can happen once every 1 or 2 years. The longest total solar eclipse can at least 7 minutes and 50 seconds. We should never look at solar eclipse directly as it can damage our eyes permanently. We should use special equipment to see a solar eclipse. We should never look at the solar eclipse directly as it can damage our eyes permanently. So, we should use special equipment to see a solar eclipse. In today's class, we discuss lunar eclipse and solar eclipse. A lunar eclipse happens when the earth comes between the sun and the moon. Solar eclipse happens when the moon comes between the sun and the earth. Okay, the 11th lesson is over. The book exercise will be discussed in the next class. Thank you.